Boston. When you picture its iconic skyline and cobblestone streets, what comes to mind? Probably images of stoic Yankees, revolutionary heroes, and self-made titans of industry. The Adamses, the Lowells, the Cabots, names etched into every history book and Freedom Trail plaque. But what if I told you that the real ledger, the financial one that underpins centuries of Boston's development, tells a profoundly different story, one that's been largely overlooked, or perhaps intentionally kept quiet? Imagine this. It's 1784. The ink is barely dry on the Treaty of Paris, securing American independence. And there on the founding charter for the Massachusetts Bank, the very first in the city and a direct ancestor of today's behemoth, Bank of America, sits a name you rarely hear: Moses Michael Hayes. This wasn't some minor signatory. Hayes was a principal founder and its first depositor. Think about that for a second. By the time Paul Revere was famously galloping through the night, a Jewish merchant like Hayes wasn't just observing history, he was actively underwriting the very roads Revere's horse rode on, financing the nascent economy that would make Boston a powerhouse. This single, undeniable detail completely flips the script on Boston's origin story. While the celebrated Adamses and Lowells were busy crafting speeches and shaping political discourse, a tight-knit circle of Jewish merchants, with their deep pockets and even deeper networks, were writing the checks. They were the unsung financiers, the quiet architects who paid for the bricks, the beams, and the very foundations of the city we know today. Moses Michael Hayes wasn't just any merchant. He was a force of nature who landed in Boston in 1769. A Portuguese Sephardi Jew, carrying the unique status of British citizenship, he possessed an extraordinary head for numbers and an even sharper instinct for opportunity. His journey to Boston, leaving Newport, Rhode Island, ahead of the British occupation, speaks to his strategic foresight. It wasn't long before Hayes became deeply entrenched in the economic machinery of the nascent American Rebellion. Within 5 short years, he was minting coins for the revolutionary cause, a clear sign of the trust placed in him by the fledgling government. He wasn't just a banker, he was a risk-taker, backing privateers, essentially state-sanctioned pirates, and ensuring their valuable cargoes through an intricate web of family and business connections that stretched from the bustling ports of Newport all the way to the sugar plantations of Barbados. This wasn't just about making money, it was about building an economic infrastructure from scratch, one that supported the war effort and laid the groundwork for future prosperity. His influence only grew. Take his nephew, Judah Turo. This man later became a celebrated philanthropist, but his early life was shaped by his uncle's world. Turo famously bankrolled the completion of the Bunker Hill Monument. Ever wonder why the first monument to a definitive Yankee victory was ultimately financed by a Jew? It's a detail that often gets glossed over. Turo's $10,000 donation in 1840, made anonymously at first, was matched by Amos Lawrence and provided the final funds needed to complete the long-stalled obelisk. This family's genius wasn't just in their capital, impressive as it was in their unwavering trust and their ability to inspire it in others. When Massachusetts legislators bickered for months over a bank charter, Hayes dramatically walked in with 300 gold doubloons stacked high on a tavern table, a tangible display of liquid wealth and confidence. The vote passed the very next morning. By 1800, the capital controlled by Hayes and his network was staggering, equaling a full 1/5 of all the specie, that's hard currency like gold and silver, in all of New England. Yet despite being a founder of the Massachusetts Bank, a Grand Master of the Masonic Lodge with Paul Revere as his deputy, and a key financier of the Revolution, Moses Michael Hayes' name is conspicuously missing from most Freedom Trail plaques and traditional historical narratives. It's almost as if his contributions were deliberately erased. Boston's Protestant elite, often self-proclaimed Brahmins, famously coined that term to distinguish themselves, to draw a clear line between their old money and the perceived vulgarity of newer money. It was a way to cement their social hierarchy and cultural dominance. What they conveniently never advertised, though, was how often that newer money had actually arrived a century earlier than some of their own ancestors, and had simply chosen, or been compelled, to keep a much lower profile. The Hayes, Lopez and Turo clans were more than just business associates. They were intricately connected through intermarriage, forming powerful dynastic bonds. They pooled their immense profits, often derived from the complex and ethically fraught triangular trade routes, and then shrewdly reinvested those funds back into the very fabric of Boston. You can still see their legacy in the wharves that line the harbor walk today. They weren't just dabbling, they were building. When the Boston Common, that cherished public space, needed fencing, it was Hayes who stepped up and paid for the wrought iron, ensuring its beauty and accessibility for generations. And when Massachusetts General Hospital, a cornerstone institution, opened its doors in 1821, who guaranteed the payroll for the first 6 months, ensuring that doctors and nurses could actually get paid and the hospital could function? None other than Joseph Hayes, Moses Michael Hayes' son. The Brahmins, with their carefully curated diaries and private clubs, might have sneered at these foreign merchants, dismissing them as outsiders. But the cold, hard facts in the account books tell a different story entirely. Those so-called foreign merchants were the ones underwriting the vital canals, the essential turnpikes, and the crucial insurance pools that fueled the explosive growth of New England's cotton mills, driving the Industrial Revolution in the region. The silence wasn't accidental. These dynasties understood that keeping a low profile was a matter of both prudence and survival. Quiet meant avoiding the gaze of anti-Semitic mobs, a very real threat in many historical periods. And no mobs meant compound interest could do its long, silent, and incredibly powerful work, steadily building generational wealth and influence, brick by invisible brick. Let's fast forward a few decades, past the Civil War and into the bustling Gilded Age of 1887. A German Jewish immigrant named William Philean arrives on the scene, establishing a modest single-room shirtwaist store on Winter Street in Boston. This was a classic immigrant story, but it was just the beginning of a retail revolution. His son, Edward Philean, was the true visionary. By 1912, he had built what would become legendary, the automatic bargain basement, the world's first ever discount outlet. Critics, steeped in the genteel retail traditions of the era, scoffed, calling it vulgar, undignified. But shoppers called it payday. They flocked to it, hungry for quality goods at accessible prices. Philean's department store didn't just sell clothes. It transformed downtown Crossing into a veritable retail vortex, sucking in cash from every corner of New England, from Maine to Connecticut. It became an economic engine, a symbol of modern consumerism. But Edward Philean's impact stretched far beyond the cash register. Behind the scenes, he was a trailblazer in employee welfare. Decades before the New Deal made such provisions commonplace, Edward pioneered the 40-hour workweek, established credit unions specifically for his female staff, and even offered employee health care. He was an advocate for progressive labor practices, implementing profit-sharing programs and a minimum wage for women, recognizing that a well-treated workforce was a productive one. The Philean fortune eventually peaked at an estimated $400 million in today's dollars, a testament to their commercial prowess. But the bigger, more infrastructural impact was literally carved into the city itself. The Washington Street subway station, a crucial artery of the Orange Line, was tunneled specifically to feed a constant stream of shoppers directly into Philean's basements. So the next time you ride the Orange Line past that stop, remember, you're not just traveling through a tunnel, you're literally passing through a hole that Jewish ingenuity and philanthropy, driven by a keen understanding of urban development and consumer behavior, carved out for bargain hunters and city commuters alike. It's a silent monument to their foresight, still serving Boston every single day. While Edward Philean was dazzling Boston with his innovative department store, another Jewish dynasty was quietly conquering the city's cupboards, changing the way Bostonians ate. The Rab family, Jewish immigrants from Latvia, started even more humbly than the Phileans. In 1898, they bought a small grocery on Mercer Street. This wasn't glamorous, it was essential. Through sheer grit and an astute business sense, this small family enterprise grew, eventually merging with the Globe grocery chain to create what would become Stop & Shop, New England's dominant supermarket by the mid-20th century. They understood the power of scale and efficiency in feeding a growing urban population. But their vision extended beyond groceries. In a move that demonstrated incredible long-term foresight, the Raab family quietly purchased 80% of the vacant, derelict warehouses along the Fort Point Channel in 1946. At the time, this area was a forgotten industrial wasteland, yet within a decade, those imposing brick shells were transformed, becoming the refrigerated backbone of their sprawling supermarket empire, a logistical marvel that allowed Stop & Shop to expand rapidly. Fast forward to today, and the Raab family's real estate arm still owns a staggering 6.2 million square feet of prime Boston waterfront property. These aren't just empty warehouses anymore. They're now leased to cutting-edge biotech labs whose names, Moderna, Vertex, make global headlines for their scientific breakthroughs. When you reach for that $5.99 container of blueberries at your local Star Market, remember a sliver of that price still flows into trusts bearing the Raab name, quietly financing university chairs at MIT and funding medical startups sequencing genes just a mile from where that original grocery stall stood. It's a profound example of how foundational wealth, meticulously built and strategically reinvested, can continue to shape the intellectual and economic landscape of a city for generations, often without public fanfare. Beyond the commercial giants, look closely at almost any major cultural institution in Boston, and you'll inevitably find Jewish checkbooks behind the marble facades, quietly ensuring their survival and flourishing. These aren't just one-off donations, they represent a sustained, deep commitment to the city's cultural and artistic life. Consider the Boston Symphony Orchestra's groundbreaking 1900 tour of Paris, a massive undertaking that cemented America's cultural presence on the global stage. That ambitious endeavor was underwritten by Jacob Lubin, a shrewd linen importer, who even managed to hedge currency risks on Parisian bourses, ensuring the tour's financial stability. Then there's the Museum of Fine Arts. Its impressive 2016 Art of the Americas Wing expansion received a monumental $35 million from the Pritzker-related Klarman Family Foundation. Yes, those Pritzkers, a family synonymous with global wealth and influence, who just happened to summer on the North Shore, demonstrating how even national titans contributed locally. This kind of significant, often understated backing allows institutions to grow, innovate, and serve millions. And let's not forget Boston's beloved Red Sox. When the team teetered on the brink of bankruptcy during the dark days of the Great Depression in 1933, a consortium led by Irving R. Rosenthal, a powerful shoe factory magnate, stepped in. They floated a crucial $500,000 loan that literally kept the franchise from leaving Boston. Try singing Sweet Caroline at Fenway Park, celebrating a team that embodies Bostonian spirit without imagining that vital infusion of capital that saved it from oblivion. These are the behind-the-scenes stories, the financial lifelines that preserved and propelled Boston's most cherished cultural and sporting treasures. In 1915, a truly remarkable figure, Rabbi Pinchas David Horowitz, stepped off a boat from Jerusalem and established the Boston Hasidic dynasty in a modest clapboard house on Elm Hill Avenue in Mattapan. Now, outsiders often picture Hasidic communities as insular, inwardly focused, but Rabbi Horowitz's actions dramatically challenged that stereotype from day one. During the crushing depths of the Great Depression, when banks were failing and despair was rampant, he didn't just tend to his own community. He financed a credit union for struggling Italian immigrants, collateralized by nothing more than handshakes and the moral authority of Hebrew scripture. This was an extraordinary act of interfaith solidarity and practical compassion. His son, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Horowitz, continued and expanded upon this legacy, transforming those informal community-based loans into the citywide co-op bank. This institution, rooted in the very principles of mutual aid and trust, still finances triple-decker homes in Dorchester, helping generations of families achieve home ownership and build equity in their neighborhoods. Take a walk down Blue Hill Avenue today. You'll notice the modest, unassuming facades of countless affordable housing complexes. What you might not realize is that the deeds for many of these properties list Shell LLCs that trace their ownership back to this very same dynasty, the same community that sings wordless, soulful melodies every Saturday night in Mattapan. It's a testament to how deep roots, strong community values, and an enduring commitment to practical aid can quietly build and sustain vital urban infrastructure, leaving an indelible mark on the lives of countless families, far beyond the initial community they served. Let's jump ahead to 2025. The influence of these dynasties isn't just a historical footnote, it's a living, breathing part of modern Boston. Take Abigail Johnson, for instance. She runs Fidelity Investments, a global financial powerhouse, from a gleaming tower that literally hovers above the old Hayes Wharf. While she might not publicly advertise her Sephardic roots, genealogical research clearly links her maternal line back to the prominent Lopez shipping clan of Newport, a family intertwined with the early Hayes network. Her presence at the helm of such a massive institution is a powerful, if quiet, continuation of that centuries-old financial legacy. Then there's Robert Kraft. Most fans know him as the wildly successful owner of the New England Patriots, but fewer realize the extent of his family's profound philanthropic impact. His family foundation seeded the $25 million Kraft Center for Community Health at Fenway, a vital institution dedicated to treating opioid addiction and addressing other critical health issues in the very same neighborhoods where Irish ward bosses once held sway. It's a powerful example of how modern wealth is being deployed to tackle some of society's most pressing challenges, transforming communities from the inside out. And while tech mogul Larry Ellison doesn't actually live in Boston, his daughter Megan owns a stunning Back Bay townhouse and bankrolls the Ellison Institute for Transformative Medicine in Cambridge, attracting world-class oncologists who commute in sleek Tesla caravans along Storrow Drive. These aren't just wealthy individuals, they're orchestrators of immense influence. These fortunes, often operating through sophisticated foundations and trusts, don't typically appear on tourist maps or in splashy headlines. Yet their grants and investments decide which labs sequence the next groundbreaking vaccine, which medical breakthroughs get funded, and which innovative startups receive the crucial seed money to change the world. Their footprints might be quiet, but their impact is undeniably colossal. So after all this, you might be asking, why haven't these stories permeated our collective consciousness? Why aren't these names as widely celebrated as other Boston legends? The answer, ironically, lies in the very nature of their success and a strategy that hasn't fundamentally changed since Moses Michael Hayes first set up shop in 1784. These families have mastered the art of quiet influence. They often donate through sophisticated donor-advised funds, which bear neutral, innocuous names like the Boston Foundation or the Civic Initiative Trust. This allows press releases and public announcements to avoid any specific ethnic tags, keeping the focus on the cause rather than the donor's identity. They endow prestigious university chairs, but those chairs prominently carry the university's esteemed brand, not the family's name. This ensures the longevity of their philanthropic impact while maintaining a low personal profile. And perhaps most tellingly, they often hire local public relations firms whose ancestors might have once penned the society pages announcing Brahmin weddings. The messaging from these firms is always polite, meticulously understated, and above all, very, very quiet. It's a deliberate, multi-generational approach to impact without ostentation. The result? A city that prides itself on its transparency, its historical preservation, and its vibrant public discourse still largely fails to see the intricate, powerful scaffolding that its Jewish dynasties have quietly bolted together over 3 centuries. Their legacy is embedded in the very infrastructure, institutions, and intellectual life of Boston, a testament to influence wielded with remarkable discretion. So, the next time you swipe your Charlie card to ride the T, grab that container of blueberries from the supermarket, or marvel at the latest medical breakthrough involving lab-grown antibodies, take a moment. Remember the invisible chain of signatures behind them. Hayes, Turo, Filane, Robb, Lubin, Klarman, Horowitz, Kraft, Johnson. These aren't just names. They represent generations of compounded wealth, astute business acumen, and profound philanthropic vision. They didn't just build buildings, they engineered the invisible circuitry of a modern metropolis, shaping its economy, its culture, its health, and its very future. Understanding this hidden circuitry doesn't diminish the achievements of Boston's famous founders. On the contrary, it completes the picture, adding depth, nuance, and a richer, more accurate tapestry to the city's extraordinary history. It reveals that Boston is not just a city of iconic monuments and revolutionary speeches, but a testament to the enduring power of quiet enterprise and strategic philanthropy. And if you're hungry for more hidden histories that the textbooks somehow forgot, hit subscribe, drop a comment with the dynasty that surprised you most, and share this video with that friend who still thinks the Puritans paid for absolutely everything. Because the real story of Boston isn't just written in granite obelisks, it's written in ledgers whose ink, even after centuries, never quite dries.